The German shepherd slammed into the toddler's bedroom door at 2 a.m. They thought the dog had lost its mind. It hadn't. It had found something they were about to miss. His parents had never heard Rex bark like that. Not at this hour. Not at this volume. Not in the direction of nothing. Because when Karim pulled open the hallway door, there was nothing in the hall, just Rex. 85 pounds of German shepherd against the door to 3-year-old Sanna's room. Not barking at the hall, barking at the door itself. At what was on the other side of it. Rex, Karim said. Rex. The dog did not turn. He pressed forward against the door. Lena, Karim's wife, was already behind him. She said, "Something's wrong." She crossed the hall and opened Sanna's door. Sanna was in her bed. She was not sleeping. Her eyes were open. They were not tracking. They were still in the specific way eyes are still when the brain has stopped routing information through them correctly. Her small hands were making a fine repetitive movement against the blanket. Her face was flushed red in the particular way that is different from embarrassment or exertion, the red that goes all the way to the ears, to the temples, to the scalp. Lena was a registered nurse. She had 12 years of experience in internal medicine. She had never personally seen a febrile seizure. She had read about them, understood the mechanism, knew what the presentation looked like from clinical description. What clinical description does not prepare you for is finding it in your own child's bedroom at 2 a.m. While your husband stands in the doorway and your dog continues to bark into the room that is already open, she said, "Call 911. Karim called. She was already beside Sanna, hand on her forehead, burning the heat of a body with something seriously wrong in its temperature regulation, timing the duration, speaking clinical language into the room over her shoulder to Karim, who was repeating it into the phone. The paramedics arrived in 9 minutes. Sanna's temperature was 40.2 degrees Celsius. The seizure had lasted approximately 4 minutes by the time the paramedics assessed her. Duration under 5 minutes is categorized as a simple febrile seizure, frightening in presentation, serious in implication, not inherently associated with long-term neurological damage when isolated. But the word simple has nothing to do with how it looks or how it sounds when you find your child in that state at 2 a.m. And understand all at once what you could have found in the morning if something hadn't woken you. If you have ever understood something about a night all at once, subscribe now. Because what the attending pediatrician asked when Lena described how they'd been woken is the question that changed how this family understood what Rex had been doing for the previous 45 minutes. Dr. Yasmin Noor, pediatric emergency, asked, "How did you know to go in?" Lena described Rex, the barking, the door, the specific quality of the bark that made Karim come into the hall without stopping to think about it. Dr. Noor nodded slowly. Febrile seizures are preceded by a rapid temperature elevation phase, the period when the fever spikes sharply. This phase typically lasts 30 to 60 minutes before the seizure itself. During that window, a child's body is producing a specific inflammatory compound profile, detectable in expelled breath. Dogs can register fever-related volatile organic compounds at concentrations well below human perceptual threshold. She looked at her notes. Your dog was almost certainly alerting to a building temperature shift before the seizure began. The barking at the door was the alarm. He was trying to create a response he could see. How long had he been at the door when you woke? They didn't know exactly. Rex's water bowl was empty in the morning, which it hadn't been at 11 p.m. He had been awake for some time. Has a pet ever woken you at night in a way that you understood differently in the morning than you did in the dark? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Sana recovered. The fever was managed. She was monitored for 24 hours and discharged with instructions, a follow-up appointment, and a document about febrile seizure recurrence risk and management. Dr. Noor said, the seizure itself was isolated. The bigger risk was the temperature elevation going undetected overnight. You avoided that. They went home on the following afternoon. Karim carried Sana inside. Rex was at the door. He pressed his nose to Sana's cheek once, thorough and deliberate. Then he exhaled and walked to his water bowl and drank. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. They filled the water bowl. Lena stood in the kitchen and thought about 45 minutes. About what 45 minutes of a dog pressing against a door and barking at a temperature spike he could smell through the wood looks like from the inside of a bedroom where you are trying to be heard. She thought about the empty water bowl. He had been at his post for a long time before anyone came. Next, a golden retriever who kept dropping a tennis ball on a specific patch of lawn, and why the gas company truck arrived within the hour.